Okay, I am now in front of a camera. Trying to figure out the whole 3/4 rule thing where you keep your eyes like on this line. Okay, so I was thinking earlier as I was preparing to get in front of the camera, I'm gonna take off my glasses because I don't have a camcorder at the moment and it keeps reflecting what's happening on the screen. I'm sure my video will be missing many things, and infinite optical vortex is just not gonna be one of them. Okay. So one of the things that I've found I really need to do if I'm about to like get in front of a camera and talk to people or even go out and talk to people is I started doing this crazy thing a while ago where I would go out into the woods as far as I could get away from civilization and people who would think I'm a freak for, you know, going around and talking to myself, and I would just take out my phone and record myself and just set a time. And for that exact amount of time, no matter what was going on or no matter how little I could think of, I would just keep talking no matter how completely and totally irrelevant or stupid the words that were coming out of my mouth were. I would just make sure that there was always something coming out of my mouth. And I actually found this to be a really, really, really helpful exercise, because one of the things that I've really noticed about myself is that a lot of thought and sorry, the dog. A lot of thought and mental stuff gets caught inside of my brain, and if I don't take a moment to sort of turn on the part of my body that turns thought into mouth move stuff, then if I'm trying to talk to somebody, I don't quite have that connection going yet, and I have a really hard time getting thoughts from my brain and remembering that thoughts exist in my brain, and all of my mental energy goes into remembering that I have a body and what the fuck is this and how do I use my mouth and oh god, where did all my thoughts go? I've been finding it really, really helpful to just spend a certain amount of time talking to myself. One of the things that it made me think of is the fact that I just I recently took a class on self-care for farmers, trying to keep farmers from hurting themselves as they're doing their work. And one of the suggestions that was given is to do the general motion of the thing you're about to do without a weighted load. If you need to pick up something, the suggestion is to pull your arms up, doing the lifting motion before you've picked anything up. And the reason behind that is just because it sort of clues your muscles into what they're doing before they actually have to deal with weight while they're doing it. And I can't help but feel like this kind of relates into what talking with no purpose does for me. It's kind of like just going through the motions without the weight, which for me is social interaction. It's the added stressor. I thought that was a really cool connection because I really like making connections. Right. Not that sounds lame or anything. This is so confusing because I'm watching on my laptop, so I have the image sort of facing me so I can see everything I'm doing. And it's not as creepy as I thought it would be, but the one thing that does get to me is the fact that every time I move, I'll see something on this side of my face, and then I'll go for it with this hand because I'm like, that's the way bodies work, and then my camera's like, nope, you're inverted. I had all sorts of grand plans about how this video was gonna have like a topic and substance, and it was gonna be like, it's gonna have like a plan and a bullet list like a professional, but instead it looks like I'm just gonna spend a little while rambling to my camera and see if I get anything out of that I can use. I recently started watching the Vlogbrothers. I think what they are doing is really, really cool in a way that I've always found really interesting to look at. What they're doing with videos is they're creating a dialogue that has all of the intrinsic modes through which humans communicate. Because when you have text, you have no tone, you have no facial expression, and at this point we've developed strategies to get over that. We've developed ways to deal with the lack of emotion in text, emoticons, phrasing, that kind of stuff. But the big difference between Vlogbrothers videos and reading an article online is that I can do it while cleaning my room, I can do it with no brain power, I can be taking in the information that they're giving me, and it works its way sort of into your subconscious psyche something in a way that text just really, really doesn't. Because one of the things that text really, really lacks, for me at least, it takes a lot of energy, and what the Vlogbrothers really have is the feeling that you're talking to somebody and they're talking back. It's somewhat personal. I mean, it's not personal because they don't know who gave. I had words at one point. Yeah. I have a dog. I foresee that one of the things that doing these videos is going to either both help and sort of freak me out with is the tonality of my voice. Because to me, my voice sounds really pretty low, but whenever I hear it recorded, it's like I suck a bottle of helium that I just sort of forgot about doing that thing. God, I am articulate. Yeah. I have plants too. Those are cool. I think I might call that a video. It's not a very coherent video, but getting failures under your belt is a good thing to do. And doing videos is kind of like learning a new language, because while I'm completely and totally not a text-based person, I like to read, but I don't find it particularly comfortable, and I can probably explain more on that later. But while I'm not a particularly text-based person, the only way I've ever really put my thoughts out into the world is through text, writing things like at 750.com, or just writing up a Word doc about something that I feel passionately about, and never publishing it, because that would be too something. Man, this is convoluted. But it's learning an entire new skill to be able to do the same kind of coherent word dump through either audio or audio-visual medium. So this is my first attempt at that, and my screen has now gone black. So I'm just gonna call this one a wrap.